Here's a picture of some of the tools we'll be using. Most of it is Mary Kay. Brushes, we'll only be using a few. Makeup's a little messy. We're going to jump right into foundation, and you can see that by the look on her face that I'm applying quite a bit of pressure as I apply the foundation. You want to apply foundation to one cheek first and perfect the area. You can see that I am pushing it into her pores, paying close attention to the sides of the nostril, the lip area, every little detail. I'm only focusing on that one part of her face. That way when I move to another part, I'll already know that I don't have to go back over this later, that it's already perfect. So we're just going to break the face down into several different pieces, and I usually start with this left cheek. For a regular coverage, you can layer this foundation on very lightly and just sort of press it into your skin like a lotion. You can also continue layering it on until it builds up a nice sort of Barbie doll-like coverage. For people with acne or severe discoloration, this cream foundation by Mary Kay called Day Radiance Cream Foundation is flawless. It's the best foundation I've ever used. We use two different colors, buffed ivory and almond beige. So I did the other cheek there, and now I've gone to the forehead. I'm going to make sure the forehead is perfect, really scrubbing it into her face so that there's no evidence of foundation left. Your wrist will have to make several different movements, a hard push and then a soft buffing motion. Going into concealer, going to place the concealer from the tear duct down to the cheekbone and then start working it across. We want to get underneath the eyelashes and make sure that all the pink space underneath the eyelashes is all filled in. So there should be kind of a lighter shaded triangle under the eyes all the way down to the cheekbone. The semicircle area that most people make with concealer should be avoided. You want to pull it all the way down to the cheekbone and thereby create the same color on the soft indented area as is on the more taut skin that's stretched across the cheekbone. And we're setting it with setting powder, and this is Mary Kay's pressed mineral foundation in the lightest shade, which is great for a setting powder for anyone. It's basically translucent. Now we're contouring, so I'm going to place a darker shade, about 2 shades darker, on the sides of her face, the forehead area, and I'm going to do the sides of the nose, just to make sure light isn't bouncing off the nostrils. There's a point of light that shines off the apex of every curve, and so we want to knock that off from the higher points on the forehead, the higher points on the nostrils, and now we're going to give a little cheek color right on the apples of the cheek. The contouring does all the work on the side of the face. The color should only stay on the front plane of the face, on the apples of the cheek. This is eye primer, and it's kind of like the glue for your foundation. It's going to keep it from creasing and smudging. Mary Kay's eye primer is fantastic. It's going to feel a little bit tacky, and you're just going to smear it all over the entire eye area. Make sure you get in there by the tear duct and close to the lash line and all the way up to the eyebrow. I really firmly believe you should use both your left and right hand to do things like this, because they fit nicely onto each side of your face and into the little corners of your face. A shimmer color, this is called Honey Spice. It goes in the inside corner right on to the part of your eye that turns into your nose. The funny little space right there that tends to be shaded and darkened, the eye benefits quite a bit from it once you lighten that up and bring some gleam into that area. So that's just done really on the inner third of the eye. You can see I'm going over the lid a little bit, really just kind of slapping it on there. This is a very forgiving product. You don't have to place it in exactly the right area. Now a crease color is just going to go in right above where the eyelid stops. So if you actually feel the anatomy of where the eyeball is, on top of the eyeball is where your crease is. Regardless of where your crease appears to be, if you're Asian, it might appear to be quite a bit lower than the actual anatomy of where your eyeball stops, but that's what you're going to feel for, is where your eyeball actually ends, and so that you're kind of putting the brush on top of the eyeball and rolling it back and forth like you can see I'm doing here. The effect should be somewhat disappointing. You really want a sort of shadow there, but really not a brown rainbow. The liner is next, and this is a espresso colored liner. It's not really black or gray or brown, it's just kind of an in-between color. It's also very forgiving, so you can kind of slap it on there in a hurry and it'll just buff out anywhere that you make any mistakes. Just get it onto the lid right at the lash line from corner to corner. Not from first lash to last lash, but from corner to corner. And in order to get that inside corner, you'll have to open your eyes and place the brush carefully on that inside corner. It's very important. That's going to give you about another 1/4 inch of eye length, which is significant. Now we're going to place it on the waterline underneath, and you're going to do about a 1/4 inch at a time. Place it on there, then go back for more product and place some more on there. You want the amount, or the color that's being placed on the eye to be the same color that you see on the product while it's in its compact. You don't want a different version of that color, you want that color. So you need to place quite a bit of it on there to where you're not getting a smeared version of it, but an intense version of it. Now we're just smearing it underneath the eyes. And that's going to create a softness that will prevent it from looking like a Sharpie underneath your eye. We are filling in the brows just a little bit. This is a sketching motion with a soft wax pencil. If it was a harder wax pencil, we'd be pressing a little bit harder, but a good beigey blonde usually works for just about everyone. Those with really dark hair can of course use a darker color. This is the mascara, so we start at the base and wiggle out, and then separate as you're kind of wiggling. We're going to do the bottom lashes by taking a little bit off the wand and onto a liner brush, and then just kind of going back and forth and smudging it into the lashes. This is much safer than taking that big scary eyelash wand with all of its tons of mascara in it and putting them up to those sweet little baby bottom lashes. So once you've got your bottom lashes done and your top lashes done, we can move on to lips. And I'm going to sketch out the lips. The question you want to ask yourself is this my lip or is this my face? You always give the benefit of the doubt to the lip. If you're not sure, it's your lip. So go as far as you can and smear some gloss on over it. The liner color that we used was just a neutral. I use a neutral for whether I'm using red lipstick or clear. I always use a neutral liner. There we have our finished product.